Every time I hear someone saying we need more cis white women in leadership positions, I feel a little uncomfortable. I remember Hillary Clinton saying in an interview that in order for Europe to stop the rise of the far right and fascism, Europe must curb migration. For people who don't fit into the mold of white cis feminism, it is very hard to relate to not only those values of power and supremacy, but it is also extremely hard to understand how a world ruled by white cis women could be any better. One only needs to Google white feminism to find countless articles of women of color narrating their horrible experiences within white feminist circles and spaces. But what is white feminism? White feminism is a descriptive term used to describe feminist theories that focus on the struggles of white women and actively ignore the struggles and experiences of minority groups, especially women of color, LGBTQ+ women, and people and migrants. Why am I scared of white feminism? To understand white feminism, we need to understand the construction of whiteness in the Western world. Okay, so there are certain privileges and access to resources thanks to the racist structures that exist in our societies due to, well, racism. The thing with whiteness is that most of its power comes from the fact that thanks to hundreds of years of racist theories and ideologies, colonialism and imperialism, white and whiteness are perceived as only human. And this idea of whiteness as only human and racialized people as others also means that the archetype of the human woman is also white. One of the main characteristics about white feminism is that the discussion is limited to issues that affect white women. And if anyone tries to bring issues like migration, racism, transphobia, social inequality, etc., one is destroying feminism by bringing division, which that excuse is just a big pile of crap. So, why are white women's issues the real feminist issues? Because of whiteness and racism. And that's one of the main reasons why white feminism is so scary, because white feminism is dangerous. White feminism turns white women into tools of white supremacy and the heteropatriarchy. Since white feminism is not actively anti-racist, it means that it replicates and protects the racist structures in society. White feminism is not about equality, it is about moving white cis women up the power ladder in the world. It is to either rule right next to white men or to rule over everybody. And liberation and equality is not about exploiting others. For example, the media has praised the leadership of women during the pandemic, especially the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen. However, Mette Frederiksen is extremely racist and xenophobic and has used her power against immigrants and refugees in Denmark. For example, let's go through her amazing curriculum of racism and xenophobia. She has directly blamed immigrants and refugees for social inequality in Denmark. She was in favor of the infamous law allowing Danish authorities to confiscate money, jewelry, and other valuable items from refugees crossing the border. Mette Frederiksen has called for a cap on non-Western immigrants, expulsion of asylum seekers to a reception center, quote-unquote, in North Africa. And also, she supports forced labor for immigrants in exchange for social benefits in Denmark. Mette Frederiksen has referred to Islam as a barrier for integration, arguing that some Muslims do not respect the Danish judicial system. And also, she has said that some Muslim women refuse to work for religious reasons and that Muslim girls are subject to, quote-unquote, massive social control. Mette Frederiksen is a perfect example of white feminism, not only because of her actions, but also because how white neoliberalism ignores all of her horrible crimes and horrible racism and xenophobia because she's a woman that cares for women. She only cares about white cis women from the global north, especially Scandinavian women. The media that praises her with no critical thinking whatsoever or intersectionality is doing more harm than good by validating her actions. And to be honest, she's getting praise for doing the bare minimum. I mean, to be honest, she's been praised to be a somehow competent leader, and to be a competent prime minister is her job. So, I mean, come on now. When Audre Lorde said women are powerful and dangerous, she never imagined it would be appropriated by white feminism and used against women of color. I am indeed scared of white women because they have proven to me they can be powerful and dangerous. Of course, white cis women experience sexism and discrimination. I am not denying that. And I also know the patriarchy affects them too. But this discrimination and oppression should also foster empathy in them towards other groups and their struggles. This is not the Olympic Games of oppression. This is not a competition of who has it worse in this world. This is not about that. But to make Black women invisible is violence. To replicate the same models of oppression and violence the patriarchy has done to white women onto others, plus adding not only racism and xenophobia, but also transphobia and ableism, is violence and should have no room in feminism. Audre Lorde said it best to a group of white academic feminists, and I quote, "For the master's tool will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change. And this fact is only threatening to those women who still define the master's house as their only source of support." Thank you so much for watching and listening. I invite you to please watch the video of the Instagram live I did with the amazing womanist, student, and organizer Stephanie Younger, where we had a conversation about white feminism. We talk about womanism, we talk about intersectionality, we talk about colonialism, and we also share our own personal experiences, etc. So I invite you to please check it out. I will also include the audio of that Instagram live in my different podcast platforms, so you can listen to it if you don't want to watch the video, or if you're just on your way to work and you don't want to go and stare to Instagram. Well, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. I am always creating content. My official website is mangopodcast.com, and you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and most podcast platforms. I will include a link to the Audre Lorde's essay. That's where I got the quote that I read at the end, "The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house," in this episode's description. I invite you to please read it. It is short, concise, and sharp. I really, really like it. And as always, I do include the sources of information and research I use for this episode in the description as well. Once again, thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And this is Mango Podcast. Bye.